Hi, my name is Dr. Fab. Two things happened yesterday. The first thing was that Jacob Rothschild died at an age of 87 years. We all know who Jacob Rothschild is. I've been campaigning against him, against the oppressive tactics, against the bullying that he has committed for many decades. His family is the one that wrote the Balfour Declaration, and what we are seeing happening in Gaza today is the carnage of and the product of the Balfour Declaration. This is the family that tried to legitimize the occupation of millions of Palestinians by the Israelis, trying to carve out a country out of an already established state of Palestine, against the UN Charter, against the international law. To date, Israel has failed to establish its legitimacy as a state because it has refused to acknowledge the two-state solution. So this man died yesterday. But having said that, the Rothschild family is still alive and they're still wealthy and they're still really powerful. So all the plans made by Jacob Rothschild may still be continued by his successors. And one of the plans that I have been campaigning against is the imminent attack, nuclear attack on the US soil, as per the discretion of the Rothschild family, to try to transfer the power and the wealth of the American people to UK, London, and even Tel Aviv, Israel. And it's good that he's dead, the mastermind behind this plan. But we also have to make sure that his successors are not able to carry on this plan and trying to fulfill his will. And it has to be made sure that the Rothschild mafia is neutralized fully and completely. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that happened yesterday was that a U.S. Air Force officer on active duty, his name was Aaron Bushnell. He went to the Israeli embassy in Washington, D.C., and he said he did not want to be part of the genocide that was being committed by his government in Gaza. And he decided to put himself on fire. He self-immolated and he succumbed to the wounds from the severe burns that happened as a result of it. And before he passed out, he was shouting, "Free Palestine, free Palestine, free Palestine." And the law enforcement agencies, the agents who were around him, who were on duty for the Israeli embassy, some of them were literally pointing their guns at him while he was self-immolating instead of trying to save his life. This is the harsh, ugly truth of the US ruling regime and the law enforcement agencies and the agents. This is how they react to someone who sacrifices his life in an act of extreme protest to try to bring to the attention of the world that American people and even American Air Force officers active on duty and American soldiers are not part of this genocide that is being forced upon them by their government, by their ruling regime. So this was a huge sacrifice for the sake of humanity. And this kid, Aaron Bushnell, he deserves a lot of respect because he tried to save the American people. He tried to save the United States. He tried to give up his life to be able to safeguard the Constitution that strongly condemns any act of genocide anywhere in the world, let alone to be committed by the US ruling regime itself. So I think it was a huge event that happened. Not just that the Jacob Rothschild family lost their head, who was apparently involved in a lot of dark, secret, covert operations all over the world. He was the head of the banking cartel. He had control of almost every central bank present in the world, and he made sure that if a country or a government decided to defy the central bank present in that country, he made sure that there was a coup, the ruler was removed. We have seen that happen in Iraq. We have seen that happen in Libya. We have seen that happen in Syria, still happening in Syria. So that person is no more. And then what Aaron did yesterday deserves a lot of respect, and it was an honorable act. And we Muslims do not condone to suicide. And I know suicide is not something that is even glorified in other religions. But having said that, I think this was a desperate attempt by an active duty US Air Force officer who did not want to go to Gaza and bomb innocent children and babies and be part of the gruesome, heinous atrocities that have been committed by the Biden administration and by Anthony Blinken and the rest of the abettors of this crime, like Rishi Sunak, Olaf Scholz, Macron, Emmanuel, Ursula, Albanese, Trudeau. So, we really respect him for it, and I hope he gets to go to heaven for this. May Allah bless him, because what he did was to try to end this genocide. He wanted to bring a point towards the rest of the world that the American soldiers, including active duty American Air Force officers, are not going to be part of this genocide. And even if they have to sacrifice themselves to prove that point, they will go ahead and do that. And this is a huge wake-up moment for the Zionists, that now their own forces that they've been using against Palestinians are turning against them. So the rifles that they want to be pointed towards the Palestinians are most likely going to reverse and start pointing towards them. So a civil war, a civil crisis, a coup could happen anytime in most of the Zionist countries that are currently being ruled by terrorist, genocidal regimes like Rishi Sunak, actively participating, glorifying the genocide. Biden administration actively participating, launched this genocide, and not embarrassed, not regretful for the loss of 29,000 innocent civilians in Palestine. Olaf Scholz completely supporting this genocide, and Ursula still trying to defend the acts of terrorism that have been committed by the European Union in Palestine. Trudeau, Albanese, still trying to support genocide. Macron, still standing by Israelis' acts of terrorism. So all of them should realize now this is a wake-up point for not just the American ruling regime, but also for the rest of the Zionist rulers, that now your own soldiers are not going to go ahead and be part of this genocide. And the rifles and the weapons that you want pointed towards Palestine as part of the genocide may soon be pointing towards you. Because this is what happens eventually. If you continue to force your will and dictatorship and totalitarian communism upon millions of people against their will, including the people who are serving in the army, they can turn against you. And when they turn against you, then the rifles will be pointing, the weapons will be pointing towards the rulers, not towards the Palestinians. or the victims of the genocide. Bye bye.